Jesus explains, directing one's thoughts to the spiritual realm. Conscious separation from the material world. September 24th, 1961, Message 8001, from Jesus through Bertha Dudde, spoken by Pascal. You are always in the spiritual world, whenever I can speak to you, and that is why only spiritual teachings ever flow to you from this world. You receive spiritual knowledge that surpasses all earthly knowledge, because the human mind cannot acquire such knowledge on its own. Rather, it is a stream of power from me that overflows into you. However, it is always accepted only by those who themselves have a longing for spiritual knowledge, because only spirit can speak to spirit, whereas the human mind may remain completely unimpressed if only it receives spiritual knowledge. The mind must first be set aside, though this does not mean that it cannot grapple with it. On the contrary, it very much should. But first, attention must be paid to the feelings in the human heart before the intellect becomes active. Even the sharpest intellect will not be able to fathom the spiritual connections. Yet even the sharpest intellect will, in turn, have to acknowledge the profound wisdom of these connections if the person has first allowed their heart to speak. That is, if they have left the initial judgment to it. Thus, a person must first enter the spiritual realm of their own free will, before spiritual blessings can be conveyed to them from there. And this applies not only to the direct recipient of my word, but also to those to whom my messengers convey my word. Yet it is precisely this will that is rarely present in the people. Intellectual reasoning does not fully satisfy them, and they do not turn inward, because their faith is too weak, and they do not establish a mental connection with me. I, however, can only send them an answer when they ask me, because such a question is what first proves to me their will to be spiritually enlightened. Man must make a conscious separation from the material world. That is, he must enter the spiritual realm. He must occupy his thoughts with questions that cannot be answered from the material realm. And this brief turning away from the world will truly bring him blessings. For I perceive every spiritually oriented thought and intervene, prompting him to ask further questions, and I answer him in like manner, as long as he maintains this connection. He does not need to consciously call upon his God and Creator, yet he can ask himself about the meaning and purpose of his earthly life. Such thoughts alone extend into the spiritual realm and are answered from there. However, a person must be sincere in their desire to gain enlightenment. Otherwise, their questions cannot be taken seriously, for the longing for the truth is the first condition for receiving it. But I take particular delight in those who respond to even the slightest prompting, who repeatedly seek enlightenment, and who, time and again, take the path to me, the path into the spiritual realm, who do not seek the knowledge that gives them true enlightenment from other people, but instead go to the very source of truth, even if still unconsciously. For even those who do not yet believe can be inwardly filled with a longing for truth, and they too will soon be able to believe and consciously set out on the path to their God and Creator. Only one thing is necessary: to turn one's back on the world. That is, to devote oneself to spiritual thoughts in silence, because only then does one enter the spiritual realm. For my kingdom is not of this world. But the world is the realm of my adversary, who will never grant you the truth, but seeks to supplant every truth with error. You must seek stillness, because you must exercise your free will. For I cannot lead you to faith against your will, a faith that you must earn by yourselves in order to be properly evaluated by me, and this requires a life lived in love. Love is union with me, for whoever remains in love remains in me, and I in him, and love also finds its way to me. The loving man will often let his thoughts wander into the realm that is still close to him, but towards which he unconsciously strives, because love seeks to unite with eternal love. The loving man will also be able to believe, if he so desires, but the will is not compelled. It must freely choose me. Man must recognize the Creator, the greatest spirit of infinity, as the power that created him as well. He must feel connected to this creative power and seek to draw closer to it. And his goodwill shall also secure for him a faith that he will never again wish to abandon. I myself shall take possession of him thereupon. I may influence him through the Spirit, and I will thus be able to address him in accordance with his inner longing. The spiritual realm will no longer release him. All beings of light are striving for his spiritual progress, and I myself have gained a child, who, of its own free will, turned to me, and will never again be forsaken by me. Amen.